Okay, so there is two more simple functions that I want to show you. The count function and the count a function. And once we start building our example, it'll be easier to pinpoint the differences between the two. So to start off, I will be demonstrating the count function. So down in cell A14 at the bottom of the report, I'm going to type in count. I'm going to click tab to get to the next cell over, and I'm going to start typing the equal sign count. I'm going to give the count function a double click, go up to our FX button to open up the function arguments window. And what this function does is that it counts the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. So for our first argument, we are going to select the cells that we want to count. So let's go ahead and count the number of expenses that we have in January. So we're going to select all of our expenses and click OK. So it shows that we have 5 expenses, and we can tell that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is correct. And down below the count function, we are going to add a count a function. So to the right of this cell, I'm going to start typing the equal sign and then count. And instead of clicking the count function, we're going to click the count a function. Open up the function arguments window. And as we can tell, that count a counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So count was numbers. This one is count the cells that are not empty. So I'm going to select the cells, the same cells that we use for the count function, and see if we see a difference here. I'm going to click OK. And once again, the value is 5. So to show the difference between the two, I'm going to come up here into our report and delete one of these numbers. Let's say rent. I'm going to delete rent, and now we could tell that our count and count a function both went to 4, because count counts the numbers and there's only 4 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And count a counts the number of cells that are not empty. Well, rent is empty, so it's still 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's say in rent, I put a text value. I'm just going to type in text. Now our count a shows 5, and our count still shows 4. That's because count, once again, is counting the numbers. So within this range, there are 4 numbers, and the count a just counts all the cells that are not empty. Now, even though the text is not a number, this cell is not empty. That's why count a is counting 5. And just for the fun of it, I will show you one more function, which is the count blank function. And you might already have a pretty good idea what this function does. And if we look at the function arguments window, it counts the number of empty cells in a specific range of cells. So we're going to go ahead and click the same range that we've previously done for the past 2 functions. Click OK or enter. And right now the count blank is showing 0 because there's no empty cells. Now if I get rid of this text value and click enter, the count blank function shows there is 1 empty cell. And now if I put rent back to 750, the count function should count 5 because there's 5 numeric values. The count a should show 5 because all the cells are full. And the count blank should go to 0 because there's no empty cells. Let's see. And like I said, those are the correct answers. So I just wanted to show you these quick, useful functions because you may run into a situation where you actually need to count the amount of records you have in your data, or count how many blank cells there are, or count how many numeric values are in a range of data. And you can tell that these functions are actually quite used often because they are listed here in the status bar. See, we have the average, count, the min, max, sum. If you don't see the min and max, remember you just give this a right click and you can uncheck or check what you want. So that's a simplified intro to Excel functions. And as you can tell, they save us a lot of time because we don't have to manually write the formula to perform calculations. Excel has these built-in functions that all we need to do is provide arguments for the function to calculate the answer for us.